Shabath Shalom, my beautiful brothers and sisters in Yahuwah, our Elohim, and welcome to our Shabath Bible study. I hope y'all had a good week, and now it's time to study our beautiful Abba Father's Word. So go ahead and grab your Bibles, and we'll get started tonight. All right? Please grab your Bible so that way you can read along with me and hear it and see it at the same time. Okay, that's how we learn. All right, gang. Tonight we're going to be continuing our study in Shemu'el Bet. And we will be covering chapters 13, 14, and 15 tonight. Okay? So go ahead and grab something to drink and get comfy and get your favorite pillow, but grab your Bible. Okay? And we'll get started. Grab a drink and we'll go for it. Praise Yahuwah. Here we are again, all gathered together to read His Word. Praise Yah. We made it through another week. All right? All right, gang, let's get started. All right, you ready? Here we go. Shemu'el Bet, which is 2 Samuel, chapter 13. Yeah, we're going to be covering some ground tonight. We're going to see what the effects of hooking up with another man's wife and having that man killed, what the effects are of all of that. You ready for this? Here we go. And after this it came to be that Absalom, son of David, had a beautiful sister whose name was Tamar, and Amnon, son of David, loved her. And Amnon was distressed, even to become sick, because of his sister Tamar. For she was a maiden, and it was hard in the eyes of Amnon to do whatever to her. And Amnon had a friend whose name was Jonadab, son of Shema, David's brother. Now Jonadab was a very wise man, so this is his uncle. This is David's brother, so it's his uncle. Verse 4, And he said to him, Why are you, the sovereign son, becoming thinner day after day? Explain it to me. And Amnon said to him, I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister. So it's his stepsister, and he's in love with her. Verse 5, And Jonadab said to him, Lie down on your bed and pretend to be sick. And when your father comes to see you, say to him, Please, let my sister Tamar come and give me food, and make the food before my eyes, so that I see it, and eat it from her hand. So Amnon lay down and pretended to be sick. And when the sovereign came to see him, Amnon said to the sovereign, Please, let Tamar my sister come and make a couple of cakes for me before my eyes, so that I eat it from her hand. And David sent to Tamar to the house, saying, Please go to the house of your brother Amnon and make food for him. So Tamar went to her brother Amnon's house while he was lying down, and she took dough and kneaded it, and made cakes before his eyes, and baked the cakes. And she took the pan and turned them out before him, but he refused to eat. And Amnon said, Make everyone go away from me. And they all went out from him. And Amnon said to Tamar, Bring the food into the bedroom, that I eat from your hand. And Tamar took the cakes which she had made, and brought them to Amnon, her brother, in the bedroom. Now let me ask you something, gang. Doesn't this seem a little suspicious, what he's doing? Don't you think that somebody would think, he sure is acting strange. Why is he wanting all this? What's going on here? But it doesn't seem like anybody's even questioning it. They're just like, okay, here you go. Here, Amnon. Here's Tamar, and she's going to feed you. It seems kind of weird to me. Verse 11. And she brought them to him to eat. And he took hold of her and said to her, Come, lie with me, my sister. There you go, big red flag. And she answered him, No, my brother, do not humble me, for it is not done so in Yasharel. Do not do this wickedness. So she knows it isn't right. Verse 13. And I, where could I take my shame? And you would be like one of the fools in Yasharel. And now, please speak to the sovereign, for he would not withhold me from you. So she's saying, you can't just up and do this. If we're following what we're supposed to be doing, then you're going to have to talk to Dad and see if it's okay with him first. You know? Verse 14. But he would not listen to her voice, and being stronger than she, he humbled her and lay with her. So he grabbed her and forced her and raped her. Yeah, if you want to see what Torah says about all of this, you're going to grab a pen because you're probably going to write this down. Okay, if you want to see what Torah says about all of this, it's Deuteronomy 22, 23 through 39. Okay, write that in your sidebar right here, and when you get a chance, go back and reference that and see what it says, because it's pretty specific about all of this. Okay, if they're following Torah, which it seems like Tamar knows Torah, but Amnon is just totally ignoring it. But just for your own knowledge, go back and check that in Deuteronomy. Okay? All right. Verse 15. Amnon then hated her exceedingly, so that the hatred with which he hated her was greater than the love with which he had loved her. And Amnon said to her, Arise and go. And she said to him, No, for this evil of sending me away is worse than the other you have done to me. But he would not listen to her. And he called his young man serving him, and said, Now put this one out, away from me, and bolt the door behind her. So he raped her, and then threw her out. Wow. Verse 18. And she had on a long coat, for the sovereign's maiden daughters wore such garments. And his servant put her out, and bolted the door behind her. And Tamar put ashes on her head, and tore her long coat that was on her, and put her hand on her head, and went away crying. What a horrible thing. That is so sad. That's just awful. She's crying bitterly. Verse 20. And Absalom, her brother, said to her, Has Amnon your brother been with you? But now, keep silent, my sister. He is your brother. Do not take this matter to heart. So Tamar remained in the house of her brother Absalom, but was ruined. Yeah, she was just raped and then thrown out by her own brother. This is, she was ruined. No doubt about it. Verse 21, And sovereign David heard all of these reports, and he was very wroth. And Absalom spoke to his brother Amnon, neither good nor evil, for Absalom hated Amnon, because he had humbled his sister Tamar. So David is chapped, Absalom is chapped, but nobody is saying or doing anything at this point. They're just mad. Verse 23, And it came to be after 2 years that Absalom had sheep shearers in Baal Hatzor, which is beside Ephraim. And Absalom invited all the sons of the sovereign, so all of his brothers he invited. Verse 24, And Absalom came to the sovereign and said, See, your servant has sheep shearers. please let the sovereign and his servants go with your servant. So he went in and talked to his dad and said, hey, Dad, we're going to go shear some sheep. You want to go with us? Wink, wink. David should have. Verse 25, but the sovereign said to Absalom, no, my son, let us not all go now, lest we be too heavy on you. And he urged him, but he would not go, and he blessed him. I wonder if David knew what was going on here. Verse 26, and Absalom said, if not, please let my brother Amnon go with us. And the sovereign said to him, why should he go with you? Oh, David is catching on. And Absalom urged him, so he let Amnon and all the sons of the sovereign go with him. And Absalom had commanded his servants, saying, watch, and when the heart of Amnon is glad with wine, and I shall say to you, strike Amnon, then kill him. Do not be afraid. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and brave. Where have we heard that before? You might write this in your sidebar too. It's Joshua 1:69. Okay, so that you can reference that. Yeah, where have we heard that before? Verse 29, then the servants of Absalom did to Amnon as Absalom had commanded. Then all the sons of the sovereign rose up, and each one mounted his mule and fled. So as soon as all of his brothers saw what happened when Amnon got killed, they jumped on their camels and split. They took off. Verse 30, and it came to be, while they were on the way, that news came to David, saying, Absalom has stricken all the sons of the sovereign, and not one of them is left. Whoever's reporting this to the king is lying through his teeth. Oh boy. Verse 31, and the sovereign rose up and tore his garments and lay on the ground, and all his servants stood by with their garments torn. And Jonadab, son of Shemu'el, David's brother, answered and said, Do not let my master say they have killed all the young men, the sons of the sovereign, for only Amnon is dead. For by the mouth of Absalom this has been appointed for the day that he humbled his sister Tamar. So David's brother is telling him, whoa, hang on, bro. They ain't all dead, just Amnon. Absalom killed him because he humbled Tamar. Okay, so that David should be able to take a breath of relief on that one. Verse 33, and now let not my master the sovereign take the matter to his heart, to think that all the sons of the sovereign are dead, for only Amnon is dead. And Absalom fled, and the young man who was watching lifted up his eyes and looked, and saw many people were coming from the way behind him, on the side of the hill. Then Jonadab said to the sovereign, Look, the sons of the sovereign are coming, as your servant said, so it is. And it came to be, as soon as he had finished speaking, that look, the sons of the sovereign came, and they lifted up their voice and wept. And the sovereign too, and all his servants wept very bitterly. But Absalom fled, and went to Talmai, son of Amminahud, sovereign of Geshur. And David mourned for his son all the days. So Absalom fled, and went to Geshur, and was there 3 years. Sovereign David then longed to go to Absalom, for he had been comforted concerning Amnon, because he was dead. Chapter 14. And Joab, son of Teserah, that's the general, that's David's head of his army, knew that the heart of the sovereign was toward Absalom. He's missing his son. Despite what had happened, David is missing his son. Verse 2, and Joab sent to Tekoa, and brought from there a wise woman, and said to her, please, pretend to be a mourner, and put on mourning garments, and do not anoint yourself with oil, but act like a woman who has been mourning a long time for the dead. Then you shall go to the sovereign and speak to him according to this word. And Joab put the words in her mouth. So he's putting her up to this. Verse 4, and when the woman of Tekoa spoke to the sovereign, she fell on her face to the ground and did obeisance and said, save, O sovereign. And the sovereign said to her, what is your trouble? And she answered, truly, I am a widow. My husband is dead. And your female servant had 2 sons, and the 2 fought with each other in the field, and there was no one to part them, but the one struck the other and killed him. And see, the entire clan has risen up against your female servant and said, give him who struck his brother, so that we put him to death for the life of his brother whom he killed, and destroy the heir also. So that way both of her sons would be dead, her husband's dead, everybody's dead. There wouldn't be an heir left in the family. Thus they would extinguish my burning coal that is left, and leave to my husband neither name nor remnant on the earth. And the sovereign said to the woman, go to your house, and let me give commands concerning you. So he's telling her, I got to think about this. Just go on home and I'll let you know what I come up with. Verse 9, and the woman of Tekoa said to the sovereign, my master, O sovereign, let the crookedness be on me and on my father's house, and the sovereign and his throne be guiltless. And the sovereign said, whoever speaks to you, bring him to me, and let him no longer touch you. And she said, please, let the sovereign remember Yahuwah, your Elohim, and the Redeemer of blood, not destroy any more, lest they destroy my son. And he said, as Yahuwah lives, not one hair of your son shall fall to the ground. And the woman said, please, let your female servant speak a word to my master the sovereign. And he said, speak. And the woman said, and why have you reasoned like this against the people of Elohim? For in speaking this word, the sovereign is as one who is guilty, in that the sovereign does not bring his outcast one home again. Uh-oh, she's spilling her guts. She's gone off the script. Now he's going to figure it out. Verse 14, for we shall certainly die and become like water spilled on the ground, which is not gathered up again. Yet Elohim does not take away a life, but shall devise ways, so that his outcast ones are not cast away from him. And now I have come to speak this word to my master the sovereign, because the people have made me afraid. And your female servant said, please, let me speak to the sovereign. It could be that the sovereign does what his female servant asks. For the sovereign has listened to deliver his female servant from the hand of the man seeking to destroy me and my son together from the inheritance of Elohim. Then your female servant said, please let the word of my master the sovereign be comforting, for my master the sovereign is as a messenger of Elohim in discerning the good and the evil, and Yahuwah your Elohim is with you. And the sovereign answered and said to the woman, please, do not hide from me the matter that I am asking you. And the woman said, please, let my master the sovereign speak. And the sovereign said, is the hand of Joab with you in all this? And the woman answered and said, as your being lives, my master the sovereign, no one turns to the right or to the left from all that my master the sovereign has spoken. For your servant Joab commanded me, and he put all these words in the mouth of your female servant. So now she's admitting to him, yeah, Joab put me up to this. He wanted me to come and speak to you about Absalom. And, yeah, I did it. Verse 20, your servant Joab has done this to change the appearance of the matter, but my master is wise, according to the wisdom of a messenger of Elohim, to know all that is in the earth. And the sovereign said to Joab, see, now you shall do this matter, and go, bring back the young man Absalom. So now David is like, Joab, please go get my son. Verse 22, and Joab fell to the ground on his face and did obeisance and blessed the sovereign. And Joab said, today your servant knows that I have found favor in your eyes, my master, O sovereign, in that the sovereign has done the word of his servant. So Joab's like, thanks, king. I'm glad that you decided it was okay to take my advice and to do this thing, because it's what needs to be done. We need to bring him back. Absalom needs to come back, and you two guys need to talk to each other about this. Verse 23, and Joab rose up and went to Geshur and brought Absalom to Jerusalem. Got it right that time. And the sovereign said, let him return to his own house, but do not let him see my face. And Absalom went to his own house and did not see the sovereign's face. He came back to Jerusalem, and wasn't allowed to see his dad. Verse 25, and in all Yasharel there was no one who was praised as much as Absalom for his handsomeness. From the sole of his foot to the crown of his head, there was no blemish in him. So, he was a pretty good-looking guy. Yeah, everybody thought that he was a pretty good-looking guy. 26, and when he cut the hair of his head, for it was at every year's end that he cut it, because it was heavy on him. When he cut it, he weighed the hair of his head at 200 shekels by the sovereign's weight. And there's a table in the back of the scriptures that you can go ahead and figure out how much that weighs. Okay, 200 shekels. It's in the back of the scriptures, and there's a table back there that teaches you how to figure out how much the weight actually is. And by what I found, it's about 5 pounds of hair. That's a lot of hair, huh? All right, verse 27. And to Absalom were born 3 sons and 1 daughter, whose name was Tamar. She was a woman of beautiful appearance. And Absalom dwelt in Jerusalem 2 years, and he had not seen the sovereign's face. So he was there for 2 years before seeing his dad. Verse 29, then Absalom sent for Joab to send him to the sovereign, but he would not come to him. And he sent again the second time, but he would not come. So Joab's he's calling to Joab, but Joab ain't showing up. He's standing back and letting things just happen between Absalom and his dad. He's trying to stay out of it. Verse 30, and he said to his servants, see, Joab's field is near mine, and he has barley there. Go and set it on fire. And Absalom's servants set the field on fire. Then Joab rose up and came to the house of Absalom and said to him, why have your servants set my field on fire? And Absalom said to Joab, look, I sent to you, saying, come here, so that I send you to the sovereign to say, why have I come from Geshur? It was good for me while I was there. And now let me see the sovereign's face. And if there is any crookedness in me, then you shall put me to death. So Absalom's like, look, you're going to play go between me and my dad. You're going to go see if it's okay if I come and see my dad, because he hasn't sent for me. So you need to go and let me know. And if there's any guilt in me for anything, then you can kill me. Verse 33. Joab then went to the sovereign and informed him, and he called for Absalom. And he said to the sovereign, and bowed himself on his face to the ground before the sovereign. Then the sovereign kissed Absalom. Sounds like he's trying to make up with him. Oh, I'm so tired of all this. Just, Absalom, just come home. Chapter 15. And it came to be after this that Absalom prepared a chariot and horses for himself, and 50 men to run before him. So he put together a small army. Verse 2. And Absalom used to rise early and stand beside the way to the gate. And it came to be, whenever anyone who had a complaint came to the sovereign for a right ruling, that Absalom would call to him and say, What city are you from? And when he said, Your servant is from such and such a tribe of Yasharel, Absalom would say to him, Look, your matters are good and right, but you have nobody from the sovereign to hear you. And Absalom would say, Oh, that I were made judge in the land, and everyone who has any complaint or case would come to me, and I shall let right be done to him. So he's trying to push his way into David's court. He wants to be a judge. So he's pushing, instead of talking to his dad about it and seeing if they could work something out, he's just trying to push his way into it. Treason? Verse 5. And it came to be, whenever anyone came near him to bow down to him, that he would put out his hand and take hold of him and kiss him. And Absalom did this to all Yasharel, who came to the sovereign for right ruling. And Absalom stole the hearts of the men of Yasharel. So he's sucking up to everybody coming to the gates to talk to David, acting all big shot and stuff, and sucking up to him and telling him, Don't worry, if I was the one in charge, I'd be taking care of all of this, trying to undermine his father. Verse 7. And it came to be at the end of 40 years that Absalom said to the sovereign, Please, let me go to Hebron and pay the vow which I vowed to Yahuwah. For your servant vowed a vow while I dwelt in Geshur in Aram, saying, If Yahuwah indeed brings me back to Yeshuralim, then I shall serve Yahuwah. And the sovereign said to him, Go in peace. And he rose up and went to Hebron. But Absalom sent spies throughout all the tribes of Yasharel, saying, As soon as you hear the voice of the shofar, then you shall say, Absalom is sovereign in Hebron. So he's trying to take over completely. He's trying to take over his father's crown, his throne. Wow, here's a coup. Verse 11. And with Absalom went 200 men from Yeshuralim, who were invited, and they went along unsuspectingly, and did not know the matter at all. And Absalom also sent for Ahithophel, the Gilonite, counselor of David, from his city, from Gilo, while he slaughtered slaughterings. And it came to be that the conspiracy became potent, for the people with Absalom kept increasing. Then a messenger came to David, saying, The hearts of the men of Yasharel are with Absalom. So Absalom is taking over, and he's gaining popularity. You better look out, king. This is going to be a bad deal. Verse 14. And David said to all his servants who were with him at Yerushalayim, Rise up, and let us flee, for none of us shall escape from Absalom. Go in haste, lest he overtakes us quickly and brings evil upon us, and strikes the city with the edge of the sword. And the sovereign's servant said to the sovereign, Look, your servant shall do according to all my master, the sovereign, chooses. And the sovereign went out, and all his household at his feet. But the sovereign left 10 women, concubines to look after the house. So he left 10 of his concubines behind to keep an eye on things. So the sovereign went out, and all the people at his feet, and they stood still at the last house. And all his servants were passing on at his side, and all the Kerethites, and all the Pelethites, and all the Gittites, 600 men who had followed him from Gath, were passing on before the sovereign. So these are all people, they're not of the children of Yasharel. These people are those that sojourn along with David. So these are followers of Yahuwah who came from Gath. So they're of all different kinds of tribes, heathen tribes, but they have given themselves to following Yahuwah. They're those that sojourn along. Okay. Verse 19, and the sovereign said to Ittai, the Gittite, why do you go, you also with us? Turn back and remain with the sovereign, for you are a foreigner, and also an exile from your own place. You came yesterday, and should I today make you wander up and down with us, when I am going wherever I'm going? Return and take your brothers back. Loving commitment and truth be with you. So he's telling Ittai, look, I know you're my friend. Just stick around here and kind of keep an eye on things. Pretend like you're with Absalom, but just kind of keep an eye on things for me, okay? Let me know what's going on. Verse 21, and Ittai answered the sovereign and said, as Yahuwah lives, and as my master the sovereign lives, in whatever place my master the sovereign is, whether in death or in life, let your servant also be there. Therefore David said to Ittai, go and pass over. And Ittai the Gittite and all his men and all the little ones who were with him passed over. And all the land was weeping with a loud voice, and all the people were passing over, and the sovereign himself was passing over the Wadi Kidron, and all the people were passing over toward the way of the wilderness. And see, Zadok also came, and all the Levites with him, bearing the ark of the covenant of Elohim. And they set down the ark of Elohim, and Abiathar went up unto all the people, completed passing over from the city. So here come all the Levites with the ark. Dun, 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 we're following David. Verse 25, and the sovereign said to Zadok, take the ark of Elohim back to the city. If I find favor in the eyes of Yahuwah, then he shall bring me back and show me both it and his dwelling place. He's like, no. Take the ark back, put it back in the tent of appointment. You guys stay there with it, and if Yah wants me to come back, then I'll be seeing you guys, all right? Just keep the ark here. Verse 26, but if he says thus, I have not delighted in you, here I am. Let him do to me as seems good in his eyes. So David knows that he's in judgment. He understands that this is all part of the judgment from what him and Bathsheba did and the killing of his friend. So he gets it, and he's like, whatever Yah wants to do to me, let it happen. I deserve it. Just let it happen. You guys keep the ark here. Verse 27, and the sovereign said to Zadok, the priest, are you not a seer? Return to the city in peace, and your 2 sons with you, Ahimaaz, your son, and Jonathan, son of Abiathar. See, I am waiting in the desert plains of the wilderness until word comes from you to inform me. And Zadok and Abiathar took the ark of Elohim back to Yerushalayim, and they remained there. And David went up by the ascent of the Mount of Olives, and wept as he went up, and he had his head covered, and went barefoot, and all the people who were with him covered their heads and went up, weeping as they went up. And David was informed, saying, Ahithophel is among the conspirators with Absalom. And David said, O Yahweh, I pray you, make the counsel of Ahithophel foolish. And it came to be that David came to the summit, where he bowed himself before Elohim, and saw Hushai the Archite coming to meet him with a robe torn and dust on his head. And David said to him, If you pass on with me, then you shall become a burden to me. But if you return to the city, and say to Absalom, I am your servant, O sovereign, once servant of your father, but now I am your servant, then you shall nullify the counsel of Ahithophel for me. So he's got another spy going back. It was his servant, but he's sending him back, and he's going to claim allegiance with Absalom, and keep an eye on him close in, and try to keep this other creep from giving him counsel. Try to head him off. Verse 35, Are you not Tisdoc and Abiathar the priests with you there? And it shall be that every matter you hear from the sovereign's house, you should report to Tisdoc and Abiathar the priest. See, there with them are their 2 sons, Ahimaaz and Tisdoc's son, and Jonathan Abiathar's son, and by them you shall send me every matter you hear. He's got an insider. And Hushai, David's friend, went into the city, and Absalom came into Yerushalayim. That is hard to say. And that's the end of chapter 15. Wow, gang, you can sure see how David's mistake, the sin that he committed with Bathsheba, you can see how now he's under judgment from it. Yeah, Yah has forgiven him, but now he's paying the price. Judgment. Well, we know how that goes, don't we? I'm sure every single one of us have experienced this at one time or another in their lives, where we do something against the Father, and then all of a sudden everything starts to fall apart and gets all crazy. And yeah, we can see what happens when we sin. All the more reason to go back and reread Torah. Reread it over and over and over, so that we're refreshing it in our minds, so that it's always right between our eyes, and we're always thinking about it, about serving the Father and not going against His will, not going against the law. It's pretty important for our lives. If we're going to follow the Father, we got to keep all of this right in our frontlets. It's pretty important. Wow. All right. Well, that's all I've got for tonight, folks. And I hope y'all are learning wisdom and knowledge, because there's a lot to be learned here. This is a huge lesson. So please share it with your family. You don't have to watch my videos. Take what you get and go share it. Take your Bible and the references that are written in it, and go to your family and show them. Teach them. Teach your children. Please teach your children, so that way they know. Raise them up right. Okay? All right. Praise Yahuwah. Praise Yah for the wonderful teachings that He shows us, that He teaches us, so that we know. All right, gang. You all have a great Shabbat. Enjoy. Enjoy the Shalom. Oh, one day a week we get absolute Shalom, if we seek it. If we don't do all of the worldly things. Yeah, you don't need to go to the store and go shopping. You don't need to do any of that stuff. Study and pray and teach your children. All right? All right, gang. Y'all have a great day, and we will see you on 4th day for our midweek Bible study. Okay? All right. Y'all take care. Yah bless each and every one of you seeking His wisdom and knowledge. And we'll see you then. Shabbat Shalom.